without further ado, we want to introduce you to our special guest today. It's been a while since we've had a guest on Sunday Funday with Paul and Judy, and this is a special one. Although I have to sort of preface it by saying that originally it wasn't the greatest reason to have him as a guest, but he was my surgeon last month when I was diagnosed again with breast cancer and had to have a double mastectomy. And the biopsy surgeon said to me, there is a surgeon that I really would like for you to get if he's available. Now, we have 3 in the area that are wonderful, but you know, you kind of like working with certain ones. And if I can get you to his top of his list, he would be great for you. So I ended up getting him as my surgeon through jumping through a bunch of hoops to get there. But I really am happy that I was able to have him. And then when I found out that he had written a book, which is called the Riker regimen, and Paul and I've been talking about this for the last 3 Sunday Fundays, I said, you're in the area. Well, even if you weren't in the area, even if you were in California, I'd say, please come on our show because we can talk virtually. And I said, would you please be a guest on our show? This book is so full of phenomenal information and facts and nutrition and ways to avoid getting cancer, to help people through it if they are faced with that kind of serious issue. And he said, okay, I'm happy to be on the show. And so without further ado,
there he is.
Yes, Dr. Adam Riker. I didn't even get to fix his name in the Chiron. Let's see if I can get it fixed down here now. Our guest, Adam Riker, and then MD. Did it work?
Yes, there
okay.
It is. So it's Dr. Riker to you.
It's Dr. Riker to me. Now I got the format fixed. I have the name fixed. I see the face. We're all good. How are you, sir? Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. I feel like I should have shaved today. Maybe.
Yeah.
You didn't think it was going to be this formal, huh?
Put on a nicer shirt, but
no, it's Sunday.
Casual.
Come
it's
as you are.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, first, congratulations on your book. I mean, this is your 3rd book. So Tell us why you decided you needed to write another one.
So the first 2 were textbooks. One was on breast cancer, comprehensive management of breast cancer. That was 2014. I was the editor on that. So, you know, you get all these different authors to write a chapter. You got to sort of beg them to write the chapter. You put it all together and I edit each chapter and it's a textbook. The second one came out in 2018 and that one's on melanoma. That's my other area that I deal with a lot with patients. And same thing, it was a single author, a single editor textbook. And, you know, the funny thing about writing a textbook is when the publisher publishes it, which in this case was Springer Verlag, it's a big, you know, textbook publisher internationally, you know, they get to keep 90% of the royalties, believe it or not.
Wow.
So on a $200 textbook, I would make $10.
Oh my gosh.
It better be a labor of love.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the reason I wrote my 3rd book. I decided to self-publish this book. And, you know, it's a different book. This is basically, I think, you know, for anybody who reads this book is going to get something out of it. So this was a much longer process. It took me 9 years to finally get it out. It just got published 1st of August. And I can tell you that writing process that you hear about is quite real. Every single year I would, you know, read another article or talk to another patient about, you know, what their lifestyle and diet was like and how we could tweak that to, you know, to make better nutritional decisions. So it was a process, but I couldn't be more excited about getting this book out because I really do think it's going to help people in the long run.
Well, I do too. And that's really why I wanted to have you on the show, that we could talk about some of the details in the book and the reason that you wanted to cover so many subjects. So I have sort of the crib note version in front of me of what you call in your book the Riker regimen.
Yeah.
And there are some things there you go, okay, yeah, that sounds right. Eat whole foods, plant-based, organic, whenever possible. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. But
Yeah.
when you get down to eat protein 1 to 3 times a week, whenever possible, avoid farmed fish, and then you say hard-boiled eggs and bacon are your friend.
Yes.
Eat as many as you like. Eat the yolk
Yes.
too. Buy free-range organic whenever possible. Okay, time out. We're allowed to have bacon?
Absolutely.
Tell us, what's going on here? What's going on here?
So, there's a lot of myth and misconception out there about protein. So, a couple of just simple facts, people are worried about the nitrites in bacon, of course.
Yep.
That is a myth. That is fake news. There is no such thing as, you have to get nitrate free bacon. That's number one. The amount of nitrites in our saliva is 1,000 times more than what they cure bacon with. So your normal salivary fluid has way more nitrates in it. So any bacon will do, and it's a good source of protein, and it goes great with hard-boiled eggs.
Yes, it does. But why hard-boiled? I like soft-boiled.
Oh, any egg. And then you got to make sure you eat the yolk. So another sort of, millennial thing is this avocado toast and egg white, an egg white omelet. Nonsense.
Sure.
So I'll just call all those rumors too. You want to eat the whole egg, which, I've got in my book about how we've sort of demonized, fats in our diet, going way back in history to a guy named Ansel Keys, who basically, fudged his data and then vilified fats in our diets since that time.
Okay, so we'll check that off the list, or I should say add it to the
A
list.
couple more things about protein, though. So
Okay.
protein, there's different types of protein. So I mean it when I say it is that you want to avoid grain-fed beef.
Yep.
So
Okay.
it should be 100% grass-fed beef from start to finish, not even a finished. Sometimes they'll say they're finished with grain. That's still, a cow goes its whole life eating grass, and then all of a sudden they fatten it up with grain. Defeats the whole purpose.
Okay, so let's segue then right from there into milk, because you also say no cow's milk, cheese, or ice cream. Period.
I want to ask
I
you
mean,
this.
stop. End of
question
sentence.
over in the thing though. It says regular bacon or turkey bacon.
Yes.
Avoid turkey bacon at all costs. There's much healthier versions of bacon. So turkey bacon is a fad, and it's not good for you, basically. So I would stick with regular bacon.
Okay. What about the cow's milk question?
The cow's milk, no cow's milk.
Right.
Period.
So you say no cow's milk, cheese, or ice cream. You say cow's milk is for baby cows, not baby humans.
Correct. Yes. That's a true statement.
Can you expand on that? Because we have been taught that if we drink skim milk, at least we can drink milk on our cereal or first thing in the morning. And we give our kids milk because we think it's going to build strong bones.
Yeah, I got a whole chapter on this in my book, of course.
Yep.
And let's do the last part first. So bones. There is a linear correlation in many countries. This is published. It's out there in the literature that the more cow's milk that a population consumes, there's an increased risk of bone fractures as a result of that. So it's actually just the opposite. The more milk you drink, the more bone fractures you're going to get. Wow. That's number one. Going back to what is in cow's milk, somewhere along the way, we said that was okay, that a human should be drinking cow's milk. there are about 50 or more foreign proteins to humans when we drink cow's milk, especially nowadays when they're jacking them up with protein, with hormones and all kinds of other stuff to increase the amount of milk production per cow. So that's number two, is that you're drinking an awful lot of foreign substances in that cow's milk, pasteurized or not, whole, skim, doesn't matter. And then the last point is that cow's milk, the casein protein in cow's milk, which comprises about 87% of cow's milk, is one of the most potent carcinogens in humans.
Wow.
Now that's published, and that, don't take my word for it, that's in an entire book called The China Study by T. Colin Campbell, who's pioneered this, where he's looked at this in detail in major populations in China. So I've referenced this in my book. It's called The China Study. And so this is a carcinogen in humans. It causes cancer in humans.
Wow.
So
what's the alternative?
Is the alternative like almond milk or coconut milk?
Yeah, almond milk is not cow's milk. So almond milk is fine. It's not milk per se.
Right. Okay.
And same with coconut milk, and same with, substitutes of that sort.
Okay, I'm going to keep going because you've got some great points in this book, and let's jump to chapter 10. And the reason I'm jumping to chapter 10 is because we were talking about milk, and a lot of people put milk on cereal. Your chapter 10 starts out, no flour, wheat, or whole grains, gluten of any kind. There is no such thing as a healthy whole grain. So that does mean no cereal, no bread, no pasta.
No, because cereal comes in a box, which is another bullet point. So it comes in a box, bag, or can, throw it out and don't eat it.
So does that include, cans, you're saying cans of soup that we would buy on a shelf. You're saying boxes of, say, packages of rice so that we can cook rice quickly. Those things are all.
No, those are okay. I'm talking about processed foods in general.
Oh, okay.
So, a lot of that stuff obviously comes in I'm talking about potato chips and all your junk foods and all of that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Cereal, for the most part, is junk food.
Okay. And a lot of it's sugar, filled with sugar.
Correct. It's all sugar, processed foods. There's a lot of foreign ingredients in that. So you really need to avoid that at all costs. So one of the first books that I read back in 2011 was an amazing book called Wheat Belly by a cardiologist named William Davis. And that's sort of what started my journey down, in educating myself about what is human nutrition. And I have a book on or chapter on this as well. This is how it started. I read that book and I'm like, it was amazing to me, the dangers of wheat and flour and processed foods, and how it's become so ingrained in our lifestyle.
No pun intended.
Ingrained.
Exactly. So
go ahead.
One of the first things I gave up, and I walk people through my book through this journey of every month I gave up. Every month that went by, really every week, I was losing on average 3 to 5 pounds, and that was just by giving up gluten and processed foods completely. Because most of it's got flour.
So it's no longer just you're gluten-free because you have celiac disease, or you're gluten-free because a doctor says, oh, you don't tolerate gluten real well because you did a gluten test, which I happen to have done. And they said, oh no, you're off the charts. No gluten for you.
That's right.
I don't process it well. And, but he has no problem with gluten. He'll always say at restaurants, yeah, I'll take her gluten. Even he shouldn't be eating it.
Of course not. It causes a leaky gut and chronic inflammation to the body, which is the underlying root cause of why we develop things such as diabetes because of the carbs in there, but more importantly, why we develop cancers. Now, one of the underlying causes of cancer, a root cause, is chronic inflammation in our bodies. And one of the main contributors to chronic inflammation is wheat and flour products. Okay. So, as far as some of the top things that I would recommend that you do is give up all forms of flour, processed foods, and wheat of any kind. That is one of the best things that you can possibly do for your overall health and longevity and to prevent a cancer in the future.
And something that would be pretty easy to do. Go ahead.
No, I have another question.
Okay,
to
that piggybacks on. Okay,
add
all
on
right.
to that.
Okay, go ahead.
So inflammation, and I've heard that before,
Mm-hmm.
is really the root of all
Diseases,
problems,
yeah.
including arthritis. So
Yes,
I
no
so I
question.
get like little arthritis points on my foot, on my knuckles,
Light bulb.
and so
Light bulb.
getting off of those things that cause it, can that even help that?
You know, one of them, yes. And one of the other things
Interesting.
is the first week that I gave up wheat or flour, I had bad GERD. This was 2011, 2000, gastroesophageal reflux disease. I would have Zantac every single day.
He does too. He has horrible acid reflux.
Well, I'm telling you, if you give up gluten within 1 week, I have never had GE reflux again.
Wow, that blows my mind.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not making this up.
Oh,
There's
my
another
God.
in my book. There's another guy in there that I asked. His name's Doug Risher. It's in the book under testimonials. He also just did this. He's my realtor. And he gave up wheat. And within the first week, same thing. He was on Zantac and Protonics.
Okay.
And he had to sleep on 3 pillows at night for the reflux. Wow. Within a week, he says it in there that he no longer has any form of reflux. So
that's incredible.
It helps with GE reflux. It eliminates it basically. And these types of autoimmune joint pains as a result of underlying chronic inflammation, that also goes away as well once you've given up all the wheat products.
The irony also is our realtor happens to be watching this show right now. So how ironic. Okay, so now I want to move on to the next thing, which is actually, let's take a question from the audience. All right. Okay. So let's do that first. And that's going to be like this. So, hi there. Can't wait for this. My question would be, what are your thoughts on detoxing your body? Do you recommend dandelion root and milk thistle supplements or some other form of detoxing? Thank you very much. What do you think, doctor?
That's a good question. Milk thistle is mainly for the liver. It can do some things, but I would take a step back. What do you mean when we say detoxify the body? I say you got to get rid of those insidious things that we just take for granted, that I need to know more about what her diet is like. So for instance, if she's eating gluten and flour and wheat products, that's number one. If she's drinking milk or has cheese on anything, that's number two. And then number three is, as far as, a toxin, does she drink alcohol? That's a toxin. Number four, does she smoke? All of these things would be the basics before we get into those other supplements that can help that process along. So I think there's bigger things to do before you start just looking at a couple of supplements, which are going to add very little unless you do the big things first.
Do the other things first. Great
That's
point. Right. All right. So now let's move on.
Can I ask?
Okay. Yep.
Alternatives to the wheat for someone that's going to tackle this and say, no, I'm not going to do
almond flour. Almond flour is a good alternative. So if you got to have an almond flour tortilla for your sandwich, that's fine. Otherwise,
what about corn? A corn tortilla.
Corn tortilla is fine too.
Okay.
And then the other would be lettuce wrap.
Yes, I love those.
That's much healthier overall. If you had a choice, I would say lettuce wrap would be first, followed by almond or corn tortillas only.
All right. In chapter 13, you say take a pre and or probiotic a few times a week with a multivitamin, B complex, vitamin C, D, E, K, and a few others supplements. See addendum on vitamins and supplements. You have a wonderful addendum that you have at the end of your chapter. Let's talk about that, and then we'll address John Cotillo's question about fruit smoothies.
Yes. So I'm constantly changing this list. I'm adding some. Sometimes I just threw out a couple today that I didn't think were of value.
Yep.
I've got a longer list of things that I'm working on, but the basics in general for supplements. You want a multivitamin for, it doesn't matter, a woman over 50, take the women's over 50 multivitamin, a man over 50 or less, it doesn't matter, but a multivitamin has got a ton of stuff in there that I think you should take every day or every other day. I recently put together a list of the top 8 supplements. Let me just, I got my picture here.
And I want to show everyone.
Yeah, so
what
I put like my top 8 supplements together. So a mature multivitamin would be number 1. Turmeric, a wonderful
Oh yeah.
drug that, not a drug, a supplement that you really need. It is the most potent anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, almost just as good as, say, green tea. But turmeric would be number 2 on my list. Number 3 would be an omega-3 fish oil, high quality. Oh, there we go. Yeah, leave that one up. That's good.
I just wonder. Oh, wait, they haven't seen the best of it yet. But go ahead and comment on this, and then I'm going to really put you to the test. Okay, go.
So omega-3 is good. I've got a new appreciation for ashwagandha, which didn't make it into my book because it was just towards the end, but it's wonderful for your mental health and wellness. It's great for a multitude of things.
Ashwagandha.
Resveratrol goes hand in hand with berberine, which goes hand in hand with the NMN. And that's about longevity and increasing your mitochondrial power output, per se. So those 3, and then apple cider vinegar is excellent for your gut microbiome, which goes to the ends of the triple fiber, mega mushrooms, and kale powder. Those are all mixed in, a little bit of each, with the green blends to make your prebiotic Riker Big Green drink, which you're going to have 2 to 3 times a week.
And if you guys get the book, the whole Big Green drink is all spelled out in there too.
Yes.
But let's go, since I have that image up there and you talk about some of these powders, let's revert back to John's question about the fruit smoothies. How about those? Fruit
smoothies is a fad. And if you're going to do a smoothie, it has to be 90% vegetable juice, 90% from vegetables, no more than 10% from fruit. Period.
Really? Oh, that's another thing actually that you say in here.
Beets are fine. Not too many beets.
You say
if you're gonna do a smoothie, you're gonna do like 1 whole apple cut up.
Yeah.
And then
you say you can eat 1 piece of whole fruit per day or a handful of berries. That's it. Why?
Because
I want to know why.
Please, my point is you can go overboard with fruits. You can eat too much fruit in a smoothie or otherwise. Like, for instance, if you're drinking a glass of orange juice or a glass of any 100% juice, all you're drinking is sugar.
Yeah,
and it's fructose. And so I'm trying to eliminate that, because at least if you're eating one, and there's nothing wrong with eating an apple, but you got to eat the whole apple because it's got all the fiber in it that goes with it.
Right.
It's the same with any other fruit that you're going to eat. So that's about as much sugar as you're going to need, from 1 piece of fruit. Otherwise, we live in a society now where you can have fruit every month of the year. Remember, our Paleolithic ancestors didn't have fruit all the time. They only got it when stuff was grown on the trees.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So a lot of this goes back. And then we also read about and compare our diets to like a Mediterranean diet that we hear is so good for you. On chapter 12, you write, this is going to be very interesting for some of my friends who are watching and who actually decided to sign on to our Patreon account just to see this show. Limit all types of beans, legumes to rarely, if cooked properly, or not at all. No peanuts, peanut butter, or cashews, period. Peanuts and cashews are in the legume family, not tree nuts. This blew my mind too, because Well, I always thought that nuts were good for you and also good for the gut and almost like a, clean you out, but a good protein. And so why are these things bad? What about lentils? Friends of mine and I went out and the 3 out of 4 of us got lentil soup, but it was cooked. Is something like that also a no-no?
No, you're rationalizing bad behavior.
Oh, that's typical. Again.
Lentils a bean is a legume.
But it's cooked properly if it's in soup, isn't it?
It depends who's cooking it.
The restaurant.
That's right. So, when I say cook prop, I was in New Orleans for many years, and one of the things that was very popular is red beans and rice.
Sure.
With, andouille sausage.
Sure.
And I ate it a lot, and I can tell you that a lot of GI distress happens after anybody knows eating a bunch of legumes or beans.
Sure. Yeah, that's true.
And there's a reason for that. It's because they're not cooked properly, and it causes, again, chronic leaky gut and chronic inflammation of the intestines. It's horrible for the microbiome of the gut, and there's much better sources of protein than from a bean. The last point I'll make about legumes is that there are toxins in them called aflatoxins. These are especially found in peanuts, which is a legume, not a tree nut, and it can cause liver cancer in large amounts.
Peanuts.
That's correct.
Wow.
Don't take my word for it. There's published literature on all of this.
Oh no!
Peanut butter is a no-go. No peanut butter.
Almond butter.
Almond butter. Yeah.
Almond butter. Organic almond butter.
Yeah. Okay, we can do that instead.
Yeah.
I forgot where I was going to go. So instead, I'll just go to another chapter because I have another one that I want to show here as we go kind of through your book. Chapter 23. No TV, computer, smartphone, or alcohol at least 2 hours before sleep. Create a relaxing, dark, quiet environment in the bedroom. No lights, no music, and be in bed by 9. Now, we know you have a pretty rigid schedule because, you're an oncology surgeon. I forgot to even say when I introduced you, a fellow of Society of Surgical Oncology and a fellow of the American College of Surgeons, and a medical doctor and an oncology surgeon, and you do surgeries on multiple types of cancers.
That's all the time we have.
Yeah. But if all of these things, and your book is full of so much information, it really is a reference guide for not only how to eat, how to avoid cancer, but a lifestyle. And you also say, don't look at this as a diet, look at it as a lifestyle. Like this is your new lifestyle change, right? So why all those things? You go to bed.
Yeah, I didn't want it to appear to be forced on anybody. We all make decisions in life. You're going to read this book, and you're going to take in what you think you're able to do, what you just need to work on. But there is no downside to this. Pick a few of these and just try to do them, and I can guarantee you, if you go gluten-free for a week and don't eat any, flour, wheat products, you're going to feel better. For the ladies in particular, you're going to lose weight. That's just an added bonus. That's an added side effect of all this stuff. But it's not. Yep. This book is not about losing weight. And I went out of my way to make sure that this was not your next fad diet. I didn't want that in the title. I didn't want that in any part of this book because it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle.
You also talk about
back to the bedroom.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Two things should go on in the bedroom.
Right now?
Not right now, not on camera.
That's for another show.
That's right.
Viewership would go way up.
Yes.
Sanctuary for sleep and for sex. That is it.
That's what it's. Yeah.
There's no watching TV. There's no getting on your smartphone. There's no doing anything other than that. So sleep.
Why?
Because that's the sanctuary. You've got to get a good night's sleep. When I say a good night's sleep, that's 6 to 8 hours of sleep. 6 is on the low end. 8 hours is optimal. There's a reason I go to bed at 9 o'clock, because I get up at 5:01 every day.
Why?
Because that's 8 hours of sleep.
But why that one more minute?
Because
got the extra.
I have OCD and I don't like even numbers.
So we found that one flaw in you.
Yeah.
One flaw.
Can I go
Can you
to
jump in?
a,
Yes.
a different question?
Of
now?
course. We have so many questions. We have so little
Because
time.
and the book is amazing.
Yeah. And I'll show you how to get it.
But
too, if you haven't
also,
already.
Okay.
his day job
Oh yeah,
is
right.
is a cancer surgeon.
Yes.
And my question is, you're meeting people who are really not happy to see you.
Yes.
So what advice can you give to people that maybe are worried about a cancer diagnosis? What would be your advice?
So number one, they come to see me for that reason. They have cancer. So I don't stress, or even in most cases, don't talk about the book on day one, because the top priority is me helping them with their cancer, which means an operation, making sure they're cancer free. And then on the follow-up visit, 2 weeks later, I've got a little bit more time to talk to them about this, because most of my patients who show up with cancer have other comorbidities that are actually more important than their cancer diagnosis. And they've got diabetes, they've got hypertension, they've got metabolic syndrome. They're usually on 3 to 5 medications. They're on insulin, they're on metformin. So there's a lot of different issues that play into the longer discussion that I'd have with them about, once their cancer's been treated by me, then we have the longer discussion about how I can help them with all of these other chronic diseases, which are going to be so much more helpful. Most of my patients, they have early cancer, so I'm going to render them disease-free and they're going to be fine. It's the other stuff that's going to really get them in the long run, chronic disease, where they're going to develop a secondary cancer. What's going to kill them is not the cancer. It's going to be their obesity. It's going to be their diabetes. It's going to be all of those related
Heart
problems,
disease.
which is a much, much bigger problem worldwide than cancer.
Wow. Do you, in one of your bullet points in the crib notes, you say, drink 1 cup of hot green tea each day.
Yes.
Tell us why. This is bringing in another culture.
It is. So this is stuff that I learned from all my trips to China. They're probably one of the best things that anybody can do on a daily basis is have a cup of hot green Chinese herbal tea.
Wow.
Period. It is one of the most potent antioxidants known to mankind. It is just chock full of nutrients and antioxidants and anti-inflammatories and other great things like flavonoids, etc. Very little bit of caffeine, just a tiny bit. It's actually, it's called methylxanthines, and it is one of the best things that you can do. And I try to get the reader to, instead of having lunch, to have only nothing else to eat for lunch. Just have hot green tea for lunch.
Oh, okay. But if you drank it as late as 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not going to keep you up at night.
No,
doesn't have that much.
Just such a little tiny bit of caffeine in it.
Right, right. Okay, so this is the picture that I wanted to share with everyone. I thought, how in the heck are we going to keep up with him? OMG!
I was
Look
working
at all
on this
those
today, actually. So my goal here is to take all of these different vitamins and combine them into different groups. So I did 2 today. One is going to be a nootropic, which is, increase your brain function, sort of a smart pill for mental clarity, memory, and concentration. And in this one pill, I'm going to try to combine about 13 ingredients.
Wow.
So that's one.
And
the other
one
one I
won't
worked
count,
on
one won't,
is-
what is it? One won't cancel the other. You figured out how all those 13 things won't cancel each other out in one pill?
Correct.
Okay,
They all have different modes of action.
gotcha.
Be a big pill.
Yeah, big pill.
I don't know if I can do it. I'm going to have to figure this out, but I'm going to try to get this down into a single pill. The other is increased metabolism, increased energy, sort of a fat burner type of pill.
Mhm.
Now, that doesn't replace all the other stuff in the book, but this is going to be sort of a supplement that somebody can take on a regular basis to really kind of speed things along as they do the other stuff in the Riker regimen.
Sure.
And then I'm going to have one that's going to be an anti-inflammatory pill, an antioxidant combined together. So I want to have like a regimen or a supplements line that'll have maybe 6 or 7 pills total.
In one of the chapters, you talk about supplements, and
Yep.
you even say, over the years, I've experimented and continue to experiment with many different combinations of vitamins and supplements to the point that I only take a select few each day.
Yeah.
After we looked at that table that you have full of supplements and vitamins, I can only imagine. I mean, you would spend your whole waking hours just trying to take pills. And then it would be time to
go to
turn off the
bed.
TV, turn off your tablet,
Yes.
stop eating and
But
go to
that
bed.
goes back to the 8 most important ones. My oldest daughter said, you gotta go back. So she told me to pick 8. I probably could have picked 10, but these 8 you can take every day or every other day. And then again, the stuff to the left and right, those are your prebiotic drinks that you're gonna have 2 to 3 times a week. But if you do these, you're gonna be pretty good. You're gonna be pretty well off if you do these here.
The interesting thing about that picture too is I want to show something next in lieu of that, because we've talked about on our show our sponsor being one of our favorite vitamin companies, which is Micro Ingredients. And it's so interesting that even with things like this, spirulina is one of those things that you talk about. And here it is in our micro ingredients, our favorite one. And in this one, it has 3 different forms. You can get the green and the blue, but you can also decide you want to buy the green spirulina in pill form. And then I love this site because they even have smoothie recipes. So you figure out, what am I going to do with this? How am I going to eat it? And they've got a smoothie recipe. So it kind of goes back to, okay, well, now I know how I can use some ideas from Dr. Riker's regimen and a company that I can go to. So I thought that was really, really exciting when I found out that the things that we've been doing and that we've been telling our audience that we promote and we love and saying, here, try it, go to it. I think you'll like it. And every time I do, I'm always like, okay, and now they're having a 10% off sale. So use my coupon code. Now they're having a 20% off. Use my coupon code. We order from them. He said just today. It's on the kitchen table. Oh, another micro ingredients game.
Yeah, they do a really good job.
Stuff.
You know, I don't have any stock in that company, but I get a lot of stuff from Micro Ingredients. You know, you sort of navigate towards some of the better quality stuff, you know, organic, you know, GMP facilities. So there's different, you know, I've gone from some lower quality stuff that I didn't think was very good up to the higher quality stuff.
Well, we're lucky we have direct access to you, so I can say, what about this one? What about this one? What about poor guy, he's going to be sorry that he was my surgeon after all.
That's right.
She won't leave me alone. Okay, a couple of other things that are kind of fun to talk about that were questions. One was about apricot seeds. Somebody sent me a video about this guy who was talking all about the fruits of the earth and how we should eat the seed. And what's your thought on that? Should we go out and buy apricot seeds or apricots and dig them out and then dig out the seed and eat one a day?
When you sent me that, I actually did a little research on it, and it's just not there yet.
Okay.
You know, it may be something, but again, I'll look into everything, any new concept, any new thing. And I always basically, I start out and I go to PubMed, which is the national database of every published, you know, paper out there to see what's out there in the medical literature. But so in terms of apricot seeds, it's not ready yet.
Okay. What about getting a hydrogen water generator?
Same thing.
Same
Okay.
thing. It's a fad.
Well,
Now, I know
it's
you
a
did
fad.
say you thought it was very important to drink filtered water whenever
Oh, yeah.
possible. Avoid drinking, and I'm probably mispronouncing this, glyphosate?
Glyphosate. You know what
Glyphosate.
glyphosate is?
No.
It's Roundup.
Oh,
Oh, no, really?
Yes.
And that's
So
in our tap water?
Yes, it is. At acceptable
Great.
levels, according to the FDA and your local water
oh, wow.
board. So let's talk a little about glyphosate. So glyphosate.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Did a
I'm
lot of
teasing.
research on glyphosate. So this is Roundup. It used to be owned by Monsanto, and then it got bought out by Bayer. So I've got an entire chapter on this because it causes cancer in humans. So there's been several lawsuits that have already been settled in the billions of dollars about overexposure to Roundup causing cancer, particularly leukemias and lymphomas in humans. And there's a class action lawsuit that I believe got settled for somewhere around 10 to 15 billion dollars. And there's still a couple of thousand of lawsuits which have not been settled yet.
Wow.
So this is real. And if you go to, you can go. So I looked up Collier County tap water.
Yeah.
They come out with a monthly report of
Mhm.
what's in your tap water, and it's published, and you can see it for free.
Okay.
You ought to see the list of stuff that's acceptable in our drinking water, our tap water, and glyphosate's on there, by the way. So
Wow.
glyphosate is so universal in our society. It's in, if you pick up say a bag of Doritos from the shelf,
Okay.
it's going to have glyphosate in there.
Wow.
Because it's sprayed on the corn and it gets
Oh.
fertilized into the corn, into the flour. It doesn't just come off if you wash it with water. It's already internalized into it. Correct. You can wash it all day long and it doesn't matter. So glyphosate's in baby food. It's in our tap water. It's in our meats. It's in all processed foods. It's everywhere.
Wow.
And so the only thing that gets rid of glyphosate is filtering your water through this filter that I've recommended. Again, I don't have any stock in this company, but I know I have one. It's called a Berkey filter.
Berkey filter?
Yeah.
Okay.
From California. It's basically a gravity filtration system where you put the water in the top, and it's got these charcoal filters in the top, and it just gravitates through the charcoal filters into the bottom. And it's pure water. It gets rid of everything.
Will you remember that name?
Yes.
All right.
Berkey.
If not, I'll be texting you.
It's Berkey.
Okay. Wow.
I recommend
Awesome.
that, and I do not recommend plastic bottled water. Why?
Right.
Because I say in the book there's a recent article this year that came out and shows that for the first time in human history, they drew the blood of several individuals. This is in Europe where it was published. They drew the blood from these patients and they found plastic microparticles in the blood.
Wow.
That's the
gosh.
article. So they don't get into so there's blood there's particles in our blood.
Yep.
Where does
Yep.
it go? What does it do? What's
Yep.
the danger to humans?
Yeah.
We haven't even addressed that yet. But
Right.
I can tell you that if you put a 24-pack of bottled plastic water in the back seat of your car at 100 degrees, they've done this study and it's published, that plastic leaches into the water that you
Yeah,
then...
I've read that before too. Well, and even if you don't put it in the back of your car, when it gets delivered in the trucks to the location where you go to buy it, how long has it been sitting in
sitting
that?
out front and it's 90 degrees out.
Yep.
All of that plastic microparticles
Leaches into the...
is getting leached into the water that you're drinking.
Sure. Yep. I'm afraid to eat anything or consume anything. No TV anymore. Don't even talk to
Believe
me.
me, I had to learn all this.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why it's such a valuable
We're
book, and I want
I'm
everybody
not
to get
some
it.
expert. Go and try to find a doctor who's an expert on this stuff. Good luck, because you're not going to
Yeah.
find one.
Yeah.
You do say in the book And by the way, I should give a little credit where credit is due to your co-author here, Jody
Yeah.
Raymond. So
Yeah.
you call your half of the book the Riker regimen, and he calls his half of the book the Raymond routine. So
Yes.
he talks all about, I should ask you, why did you partner with him to put this book together? What is his
Because
specialty?
he was, when my two daughters were growing up, he was the gymnastics coach for them.
Oh,
How funny.
okay. How funny. And
Yeah. So he's this guy, man, he's amazing. He's rock hard solid. He exercises every day. He's in his early 60s and he still teaches gymnastics to the kids. And I tell you, when I first asked him to do this, this was 7, 8, 9 years ago, and he did it. And I was impressed that he stuck with it. If you look at that second part of the book, there's
this whole
some
second
real-
part is his.
I know. There's some
So this is
impressive
yours.
stuff in there.
And this is his. Oh, I was going
Yeah.
through it because I'm a fitness instructor myself. So I thought, well, I already know all that stuff.
Yes.
No, there's so much more in here that I didn't know, but he
It's
does.
crazy in depth.
It
He
is.
does a great
It's-
job. Yeah.
Yeah. You also talk about, speaking of routines, you reference a lot of great books. You reference a lot of very talented authors who go
Yes.
in depth and have studied their whole lives before they've written these books. You also talk and reference YouTube videos and also documentaries that
Yes.
people have done on cancer, on nutrition. I love that you give credit where credit is due, where some of the research that you've done comes from and why you've delved into it even more.
Right.
So it's fascinating. It makes me want to read even more. I want to buy all those books and
Yeah.
watch all those documentaries too. But
It's funny you point that out because I make this point in the very beginning of the book. It's like there's really nothing new in this book. There's not.
But it's
it's
but it's consolidated though, and you
Yeah.
you give it to us in such great layman's terms, other than the word glyphosate. Every once in a while, it goes whoop right over my head. But it really is. It's easy to read. And you talk about the fact that you thought when you were in college and you were doing all of these studies and you were studying to be a doctor, and of course you were up 20 hours a day and sleeping 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
And you were eating like crap. This is where the peanut butter and the pretzels and the potato chips came from.
Yeah.
And then you were also trying to run marathons and you thought, oh, well, I'm going to burn it all off and I need all these carbs and that's what's going to get me to the finish line. And then you said, and you got to the finish line and you collapsed and you were like doubled over and your gut hurt like crazy. And you started to think, okay, maybe I'm not doing everything so right. So a lot of this comes from experience too. And then you get into research.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
It was.
That's great.
So
Well, sometimes that's what it takes.
I was mile 21, 22 at Chicago Marathon, and I'm seeing these, older, pudgy people going right past me. And I'm like, wait a minute. It was so annoying.
What's wrong with this picture?
Yeah. It really made me look at what's going on here. And that was the very beginning of when I was like, wow, I'm so way off with what I'm doing. And the other frustrating part was my patients who came in with cancer, they'd ask me the same questions. Should I change my diet now that I've got cancer? Should I start juicing? All the questions that I try to answer in that book, I would get asked. And I felt so, stupid that I couldn't answer these questions for them.
Sure. You were solving the problem that they had at the time and removing the cancer from their body.
I wasn't addressing the root cause of all of their problems, including their cancer.
Wow. Well, that's really why we wanted to have you on. I mean, it's so funny. We were talking about, and I'm going to show where it's available. I've actually put the link for the book in my information so that people can buy it. I hope I didn't take it out of my little green room here, but if I did, I can be able to find it again. But I want people to be.
Suggest is that if anybody who's on today who wants a signed copy, just let Judy know, and I'll sign you a personalized copy of it, and I'll send it on out.
Oh, that would be absolutely wonderful. We appreciate that. I'm going through
I've
my little
given out
chapters
way
here.
more copies, I think, than I've sold.
I'm putting the link up
But I
in the
don't care.
comments, just so that people know where to get it. So you can go right to Amazon. I have a health and fitness page where I put all the things that I use in my workouts. I've added Dr. Riker's book there, and it's available in paperback, in hardcover, and on a computer, not on your mobile phone, but on a computer. You can download it on your Kindle. And Michelle's the one who asked that question about detoxing. So she's very appreciative
Yes.
that you're here. So thank you, Michelle, for that comment.
Can you
And
ask? Are you asked? Can you ask her if does she eat wheat?
Yes, I think well, I can, because she's one of the patrons who's in the live show right now. And for all of the VIP patrons, we do a Zoom call. So we're actually going to be starting a Zoom call with them in 7 minutes. So I'll be able to get that answer from you. And I would imagine that the answer is probably yes. She's also been following my workouts. And at one point she said, "You've helped me lose 25 pounds just being able to follow you and do your workouts." So
wait till she gives up wheat and keeps her carbs low. She's going to lose a ton of weight.
Yep, exactly. John's ordered it too. And I know Tab Jones, who I haven't seen her name here, but she's one of the patrons who said, "Got the book, can't wait for the show." So we are happy to help you out.
She says,
I'm sorry?
Drinking, changing my eating habits. Good.
Yeah, see, that's it. That's it. That is another question, though, that I wanted to address, because some of our personal friends are watching right now as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't pay them to do that, by the way. But a lot of us enjoy drinking wine, and we'll get together.
It's fine. You got to sort of pick your poisons.
Yep.
I drink wine when I go out, not commonly, but if I'm going to go out to dinner or something, I'll have a glass or two. Red wine would be better, in my opinion, than white.
Interesting. That's Paul's favorite. That's his wine of choice.
I get bacon and red wine.
There we go.
You've changed his life.
That's all I need.
I was down
chocolate?
in the Keys. I was down
Can we
in the
have
Keys.
chocolate?
I wasn't drinking wine. I was drinking vodka and tequila and whatever the case may be. So, that's the thing about the whole Riker regimen. It doesn't matter. I don't beat myself up because I had a piece of cheesecake last night.
Right.
It doesn't matter, because you just get up the next day and your body says, "So what?" Most of the other stuff. It's not even a failure. It's just like, good. You gotta do. When I say in moderation, if you do 70% of this book most of the time, you're going to be way better off than doing none of it all the time.
Well, I like that. And I always used to say to people, because I was heavy in my younger years and decided to just try my own thing. And I used to cut everything on my plate in half. And nowadays it's called portion control.
Right.
But that was the way that I lost a lot of weight. But I knew that if I did it any other way, and I said, "Oh, everybody's having dessert. No, thank you. I don't want any. I don't like chocolate. I don't like cheesecake," that I would turn into a raving. So I said, I've got to be able to figure out a way where I'm not denying myself. Everything is good, but I still have this goal that I want to get to. So I want to stick to it and get back on it if I fall off it once in a while.
And obviously that's the problem with almost every fad diet that's out there now. I don't like how they have this, it's so fad now to say, well, this is keto. It's paleo, it's keto. It's not the point. It falls into this group of, diets, and we want to get away from that and sort of try to get into the mindset. This is a lifestyle for your entire life. This is how you're going to slowly but surely change the way you do things.
One of our viewers said, "How about oatmeal?"
No, she's rationalizing bad behavior.
So oatmeal is not good for you either.
Now they say oatmeal is gluten-free, but it's oats. Bodybuilders swear by oatmeal. I've read a lot more about oatmeal. In my opinion, I would say just give it up. It's a grain. You don't need you'll do fine without oatmeal in your life.
Okay. I want to see if there was anything else I had on my list. Of course. How about, because I was a big cream in my coffee drinker. And now I
Yeah.
know I'm not supposed to have cream because it comes from a cow.
Yeah.
And I'm not a baby cow. I am an adult human.
Yep.
But a doctor actually said to me, try substituting it with beef gelatin. That beef gelatin is good for strong bones. It's got protein. And when you whip it up into your coffee, it froths almost like a cappuccino. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I got something better. It's going to be, you can do 1 or 2 other ingredients. If you need milk per se, you're going to do almond milk or coconut milk.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
The other would be that plus or minus MCT oil powder.
MCT oil powder.
Oil powder. You can get it on Amazon. It's organic. You can buy it organic. It's medium.
I think you can get it on micro
triglycerides.
ingredients too.
MCT, medium chain triglycerides. So it's an immediate, you can drink it in your coffee. It's got a nice taste to it.
Okay.
And it also gives you immediate energy, and you're not going to break a fast by putting MCT oil powder in your coffee. There's an oil version of it, but it's a little messy.
Oh, okay.
It's Bulletproof with Dave Asprey. You can buy it. It's called Bulletproof, but that's MCT oil.
Oh,
But I prefer the powder because you can mix it in there and it's easier to work with.
okay. And I bet we can find that on micro ingredients.
Add cacao butter, CACAO.
Yep, I've heard of that.
Cacao butter,
Mhm.
and that's lovely in your coffee as well. The best way is drink it black.
Okay, well, we'll keep that in mind. I've kept you for almost a full hour, but we thank you so much. I know we could be here another whole hour with all kinds of questions, and it's such good information.
We can do another one if you'd like.
Sure.
We would love that. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you from everyone watching and from the two of us. We really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch.
Sure.
Have a great rest of your day. I know you have to go to bed soon, so.
That's right.
We'll talk to you later, Dr. Riker.
All right.
Bye-bye. Too fun. Well,
I think we're gonna have to push off.
I think
the
we're going to
signs
have
of
to
all
push
kinds.
off signs of all kinds. I do have that prepared, but I'll just save it for next weekend. Oh my gosh, wasn't this amazing? He's just a really great guy, a very down-to-earth guy, very generous with his information, super, super talented. I mean, when you see after his name, MD, FSSO, FACS, I had to look them all up because they're what do you call it? They're letters, of course, acronyms that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
But being a fellow of so many things means that you're approved by not only others who are in need of your service, but also by your colleagues and your peers and other professionals in the business. So this is his life, and I'm so excited for him.
He's one of the most talented cancer surgeons in Southwest Florida.
Yes, and he's starting his own practice, so I'm very excited. He said I could start a new job next week, so he's really, really happy about that. You're so welcome, everyone. Great show. Yeah, lots of super information. I do have a little close for you, but well, not this kind of close, just a show close that says goodbye, farewell, auf Wiedersehen.
I think you have clothes on some of your fitness pages.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next Sunday. And for all of you VIPs, see you in about 2 minutes.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Have a wonderful afternoon.